Well, welcome back to the In Good Company podcast. My name is Mike, your host, and I'm so happy that you're joining us today. The whole premise of this podcast is we believe that the best parts of business happen in good company. If we're going to be spending all this time away from our family, don't you actually want to spend time with people that you like, and don't you want to do stuff that you actually enjoy? So we're excited to welcome our guest today, Mojo, to the stage, to the dungeon. It's going to be an incredible time. So without further ado, Mojo Provo.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming all the way to Rochester, New York.
That's right. Coming home, baby.
Yeah. And you grew up here?
Yeah, just outside of Rochester. I feel like I was all over the place. I was a pastor's kid growing up all down the East Coast. But Rochester is where I say is like my home, where I went to college, all that.
And where do you live now?
Now I'm down in Richmond, Virginia. Husband was in the military, just got out, and we thought Richmond would be a pretty central East Coast place to be. And I have some family down there also, so it's a good place.
I did the opposite. So I grew up in Virginia, and then I moved up here. I met my wife, who's got the big Italian family.
Yes.
So it's like Sunday sauce.
Yes.
So I'm here for life.
Yep.
Because I'm fed well.
Yep. That's all you need. Listen, I married a Provenzano, so yeah, so I know that Italian life.
That's great. So let's just for people that don't know your story and don't know you, is Mojo your real name?
It is not, unfortunately. Thank you for asking, though, because people assume my parents gave me that name which is not far from the truth, actually. My name's Morgan Joanna, but when I was about 30 minutes old, my dad called me Mojo, and it stuck ever since. I mean, like, professors, my teammates, everyone calls me Mojo.
I love it.
So it stuck. And every time I would shout out to my husband, but I would go on a first date, I would tell them my name's Mojo. Because I'm like, if I marry this guy, he needs to call me Mojo. Like, it can't be a Morgan thing. So
wow.
No, it stuck.
So it's Morgan.
Yes, that's my given Christian name, but yes. Mojo's my online name, I guess.
Online persona.
Yes.
I love it. So talk to us about, for those that don't maybe know your journey, tell us a little bit about what you do for a living. Obviously, we'll get into some more of like how that happened.
Yeah.
But what do you do for work? What is your job?
Yeah. Okay. So on the resume, it is just owner, CEO of Mojo Provo. And it is, I mean, the best way to put it, I always take like 20 minutes to describe what I do. But the best way to put it is just minimalistic fan merch. If you know, you know. If you're walking by someone and you see the shirt, if you're a fan, you know. If you don't, you don't. And that's kind of like the point of it all.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so if we kind of just peel back the curtain a little bit, when about did this start for you? When did you feel like you were like, okay, I think I'm onto something?
Yeah. So like all small businesses, it started in 2020. Year of the pandemic.
Same.
Yes. We were either starting businesses or making bread. We were doing both. But so basically, long story short, I sat down in the fall to do my annual Harry Potter binge, as one does.
Of course.
1 through 8, the movies all in a row. And I thought, I mean, what at this point it had been like 5 months into the pandemic. And I was like, you know what? I really want a shirt to wear while I watch this. I was very bored at this point.
That's
so
okay.
I'm like, you know what? Let me go online. Let me go on Etsy. Let me see like what I can find. Like, I really want something very minimalistic. I don't want it to scream Harry Potter. So I was going through, I was looking for it. I was going to get my friend one also, and I couldn't find anything. And I was like, oh, that's such a shame that I either have to have like Daniel Radcliffe's face on my shirt or there's nothing. So I was like, you know what? I'm bored. I have some time. I previously had been a full-time wedding videographer, so all my weddings had canceled that year. So like free as a bird.
Great for business.
Yeah,
awesome. Great
for business. My sanity was I needed something to do. So I looked into like how to make your own shirt. And so I basically made exactly what I was looking for. I made one of one, but the thing was I had to order like 50 of these screen prints. They're called screen print transfers. And so I made it, and then I just posted it to my friends on Instagram saying, I have extras of these if anyone would like one. And everyone wanted one.
Turns out.
Yeah, turns out there's a lot of Harry Potter brands out there. No, but so it kind of really started just as that. And it was very, very small. And I was I was wanting to make merch for my videography company. And I remember I have this video that says, oh my gosh, it's like Where to Next Films, that was my name, was live. You can get the merch now. Oh, and total afterthought, there is one random Harry Potter sweatshirt on the site. Like, just ignore that if you're confused about it. But like, I have 49 I can sell, like, if you want it. And then it totally took over. I don't even do the video stuff anymore, really. And everything is just stemmed from that one tiny little shirt that I did.
Wow.
And TikTok. Shout out TikTok.
Shout out.
One video on TikTok really launched this whole thing, which is crazy to say.
I'm happy you brought that up because there is this dilemma that I find in the marketing agency, some of the clients that we work with, where they have this quest to go viral. But the issue comes when, if you go viral, are you actually ready, prepared with your systems and products and services to actually deliver what viral?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good point.
Talk a little bit about, obviously you probably weren't ready. You weren't expecting it to happen, but how quick were you able to turn that around where it was like, okay, there's a clear need here. Let me try to solve this. Like, what did that process look like?
Yeah, that's such a good point, though, because I wasn't ready for sure. And I wasn't even sure that when it went viral, quote unquote viral, if it was like, oh, cool, that was cool. Or I don't know. I forget how long it took me to think like, oh, maybe this could be a thing. It was probably a day, honestly, of course, because I'm like, I am so free. I have no work coming in.
Let me check.
Yeah. We should make this happen. But luckily, it took me about a week, because that in my field of ordering t-shirts and making them, that's all the time, like lead up time you need. At that point, I was making every single thing myself. Like, there was no manufacturers, no wait time on that. And I was making everything on my kitchen counter. So it was because it was the only place that my heat press wouldn't burn. And I learned that the hard way.
Excellent.
Yes. So pro tip, use a heat resistant surface if you're printing shirts.
I would call those Provo tips.
Oh my gosh, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just here to
I'm going to steal that from you right now.
You should.
Actually. Okay, I will. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So I got to imagine, as people are listening to this, that there's a lot of people that maybe feel stuck in their jobs, or they feel like, man, I have this idea, or I have these dreams that I really want to pursue, but I kind of have the golden handcuffs where I have to provide and I have to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about, what just slipped. Is everyone okay? Okay. Anyway, talk about, to those people that are listening that maybe do feel stuck in a job, but they have a couple ideas, but maybe they lack the confidence, or maybe they lack, just the desire to actually step out and do it. What advice might you have for someone like that, kind of on the fence, but they feel like they have this really great idea?
I would say, like, if you truly believe in your idea, like, backing up, the one thing that I would say advice-wise, because I've tried other things before, I wasn't really passionate about them. I was just trying to figure out how I could make money, basically. And I wasn't like super passionate about what I was doing. When this stuff came around, like, I love this stuff. I would be doing this even if I didn't make a cent. Like, I'd still want to wear the shirts that I make for myself. I'd still want to be into Harry Potter and Taylor Swift. Like, regardless of if a cent comes in, I'm still doing this. So I think like that is a great basis and foundation for it to build upon. And then if you have a good idea on top of that, like, I would just say, like, I saw this the other day of like, what's the best that could happen instead of what's the worst that could happen. And that right there, like, I like cannot live with regret type of person. Like, I would regret not going for it much more than going for it and failing. And so I think having that mindset of like, what's the best that could happen? And also, okay, what is the worst that could happen? I tried and I have zero regret about trying. So, I mean, if you really believe in your product, if it's a good idea, I just think like, it's so cliche, but like, you just got to go for it. And you don't have to jump in. You don't have to quit your job that's providing for you or your family like right away. You could do both. And that's the thing. That's why you have to be passionate about it, because it's going to be after work hours that you're doing your new thing, at least for a little bit. And so, yeah, just like go for it. Like, what's the best that could happen? Like, just go for it.
Amazing. Yeah. I saw a quote the other day that said 85% of the things that you think in your head actually happen.
I literally saw that on your story the other day. And I thought, awesome. I saw that.
I made it up.
No, nice. Did you?
No.
Oh, I'm like, I'm going to live by that.
Is that a real stat or is that big? Yeah.
No, it's so true though.
My buddy messaged me and on Instagram, yeah, but it's the 15%. But
Oh,
and
no.
I'm like,
Okay. Valid.
Totally understand.
Valid.
So we have a segment in the In Good Company podcast called Fails of the Week.
Okay.
And this could be maybe a fail of your business or it could be from this week. But I just think it's important for people to know that you can share the best and hide the rest if you want on social media.
Yep.
And I think your account has grown and you have a great personality where you're out and about and all those things. Maybe there's some people listening that feel like every step that they take, maybe they've already tried to step out, but they failed.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're an introvert and they feel like, oh, it's easy for someone that's extroverted to go do these videos, but I don't feel like I can get my words together.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So what would you say for Mojo Provo? What's your fail of the week?
Gosh.
Or maybe your fail over the past couple of years
Oh my gosh.
that you think is a fun story?
The list I can pull from right now. First of all, completely unrelated, but what you just said reminded me of that. I feel like we all have an idea of what like a quote unquote influencer needs to be, and it is like outgoing and loud and funny and like or pretty or like this thing. And I think it does, like there are so many. I've learned that whoever you are, there's so many people like you out there, and you're gonna find this community, and you don't have to be, and you're not gonna be successful also at trying to be someone else, but like you don't have to be all those things. That just reminded me of that. But fails. Oh, okay, let me think. This week, I haven't worked a lot this week, so luckily no failures. Not a lot of successes, I guess, either, but no failures. But the one that comes to mind is, so the first time I ever outsourced, I like went on this quest of finding the perfect fabric, custom fit, like all this stuff. I found it. I promoted this one. I had this really good feeling about this one design, promoted it probably for a month and a half before getting it. They come in, they're perfect. I love them. I look at the tag. One of my things I do, I like to do like little custom cute tags. I look at the tag for the medium, size medium. It says middle. I put middle for size medium. I had about 500 middle sweatshirts, and I go back because I'm like, surely this was not my fault. Like, couldn't be me. So I put small, middle, large, extra large, 2X, 3, 4, 5. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the first time I had like put a substantial amount of money before getting a single order. So these aren't guaranteed to sell. And now I am looking at 500 middles. And for a day, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to eat this cost. What do I do? Drop it without the most popular size? Like, what do I do? And so I was real down for a long time. Like, what am I doing? This is what I get for shooting my shot at like going the manufacturer route and like trying to be something bigger than I should be, whatever. So long story short, I decided to show it and be like, hey guys, this is me and this is what I did today. And it's a complete fail. And I almost showed it as a way of like I had to make light of it or else it was going to eat me up inside. It's not even that big of a deal in hindsight, but in the moment I remember thinking just like, this was the worst. And I showed it. I made fun of myself with it. And I wasn't going to sell them. I truly was just going to not have mediums that drop. Everyone wanted a middle. Like everyone's response was I was so blown away. And that was the first time I realized like, oh, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be real. Like, and people respond to that so much more than like a perfectly like curated person or page or product. And I had people reaching out saying, like, I still to this day, that was 2.5 years ago. To this day, I'll be like, hey, do you have any more of those limited edition middles that you put out? And it's like a joke, but it's just a reminder that like what I saw as my biggest failure at the time actually turned out to be like not even that big of a deal. And the people who were there just like rallied around it. And I don't know. It's just, so I guess that is a fail, but also not. But
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was my first lesson in like, oh, I don't have to be perfect. And I can not only not be perfect, but I can show that I'm not perfect and the response will still be the same, if not better.
Yeah, people engage with things that are human.
Yes, 100%.
So I think if you are trying to portray something,
yeah,
that number one, that's very difficult to keep up with.
Yes, yeah.
You got to be putting out your show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can document
Yeah.
just who you are and the way that you are, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Mhm.
I think those are the type of brands that start to
Yes.
trust that.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've heard from a quote as well is people don't just care about the product, they care about the process.
Yeah.
And you have
Oh,
done
yeah.
a great job of capturing the process, where little time-lapse videos of you, like, I think you posted something a couple of weeks ago, you guys like loading up all of your previous
Yeah.
office and
Yep.
unloading the truck. And maybe just talk a little bit about what is it like to share the process, because I think a lot of times that's the last thing that people want to share.
Yeah.
They want to take the great big picture of the new space and, you know, everything else. Even
Yeah.
with this podcast set, we were taking pictures and videos of the process because I think people are going to enjoy that part too. So talk a little bit about what has that meant to you, or what has that feedback been on when you capture the process?
Yeah. Yep. The process is so important to share. And I'll tell you what, it is one of the hardest things to share, not even of like, oh, showing them behind the scenes, literally setting up a camera to do what you're doing. Like we moved my office space from an office space we rented down the road into my garage. Terrible day of moving. So hot, so like looking terrible, feeling terrible. It's just like, everyone knows moving day. It's just like not a great day. The thought of like setting up a camera and documenting that also, but I did, and I'm so glad I did, because like you said, like people love to see people love to see the process. People love to see what's real, and it makes them like they're on this journey with you. It feels like I feel that way about complete strangers. I don't know, but I follow, and I'm just like, yeah, I know your process. I know your life. I know the difficult things you've gone through to get here. And it makes me want to support them more, honestly, seeing that. So I remember I never used to film like behind the scenes stuff. And now it's like one of the main things I do, because I realize like how important that is. And also for me, like I love looking back and seeing where I started, and that I have that footage to appreciate where just everything that we've done and gone through. Yeah. But I would say, like, if I was to give advice, everything, like just film everything, just share everything. There might be people who are interested in what you're selling, and that's great. But there are going to be so many more people who are interested in how you're doing it, or just, and it doesn't have to be shirts. It's just business, like your podcast, basically. Like they don't need to be selling shirts to learn something from this. It's just seeing someone doing something that could inspire you to do the same. And like, that's what the process did for me, even with the other people that I didn't know who helped me out. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it generates trust, right? Because I think that's the idea that our generation and younger, and certainly older too, but old school commercials and billboards and newspaper clippings or whatever it is, it's like the first thing I do when I go to Amazon is I read a review from Todd in Kentucky.
Yes.
Because I want to make sure that this hose bib that I'm buying is legit.
Yeah.
Now there's all the pictures and the videos and all that stuff, but I really care about what Todd has to say.
1000%.
And so I think what you said is, you hit the nail on the head, right? I think as businesses are trying to grow and reach more people, the real question that they need to be asking themselves is, am I human? Am I, who is my audience? And do I look, sound, and feel like them?
Yeah.
If I don't, then I'm probably not going to reach the right audience. So one of the parts that I wanted to share as well, there is this, it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay. It's amazing. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Okay.
So people don't have to look at us as I pull it up on my phone. But as you can see, basically there is 4 stages of launching a business. The chart has confidence on the left side. I don't know if that's called the X or the Y axis. No idea.
No idea.
And then at the bottom, there is competence. So you've got high confidence early on, but low competence.
Gotcha.
And they call that the peak of Mount Stupid.
Is that the official term?
That is the official term. Yep. Mount Stupid.
Nice.
I've lived there for sure.
Yes.
So right when you launch your business, you were on the peak of Mount Stupid. Then the next place is called the Valley of Despair. So you go all the way from Mount Stupid all the way to low competence and low confidence.
Oh,
this
no.
is kind of the worst part of the business.
Yep.
Then you move into the stage of enlightenment and ultimately to the plateau of sustainability.
Wow.
So final question for you on this kind of fails type of topic.
Don't ask me where I am.
No. I don't need to ask you where you are.
Okay.
But I think in general, there's many people that have an incredible idea.
Mm-hmm.
They go after it. Then they get punched in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
They experience this valley of despair, and it cancels out their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to pause and say, you are listening. Do not fail yourself and your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You have been put on this planet to pursue a God-given dream. And I think there's so many people out there, myself included, that have been hit in the mouth, that have been caught in the valley of despair, and they start to question, is this actually what I'm supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is this actually what God has put me on this planet to do?
Yep.
So my question to you would be, whether it's an address to the people listening or it's you just maybe thinking through a story, have you had any of those valley of despair type of moments where you've kind of questioned, hey, maybe this didn't sell like I thought it was, or hey, this is too much work. I've got a family now. I don't need to be spending all this time on this. Maybe talk a little bit about your valley of despair type.
Yeah. I think if you don't have a valley of despair, I almost think it's impossible not to, honestly. Like, I think that is, what does that come after? The mountain of the mount of stupidity. Okay, yes, yeah. That is so good. Yeah, I think there is something in feeling like a sense of, I'm not the only one who's in this valley. I'm not the only one who might be encountering a failure right now. There is a sense of comfort in knowing that the people you've looked up to have all been there. 1000%. I can't think of a story that hasn't been there, myself included. And I think what it is, you need a level of delusion in your life to be like, I understand what the numbers are telling me right now. I understand that this didn't sell the way I thought it was. I understand that I'm at a low point, but you need like this healthy smidge of delusion to be like, but I'm still going to go for it, even though everything right now is kind of telling me not to. And not to the point where like, bro, you should maybe stop kind of thing, but just like enough to put aside all the doubts that will undoubtedly be crowding your mind at that moment. All the stats that are telling you this isn't worth going on.
Yeah. And
I just think like, just keep going until this will be a little bit of a sidetrack, but long story short, my husband and I had a lot of infertility problems. And I remember after maybe the 5th failure of the thing we'd been trying, my dad came into me and he said, keep going for as long as you want to. And that sounds it sounds like such a normal sentence, but he said, don't go for as long as you think you should. Don't go for as long as you think others are expecting you to. But as long as there's a 1% chance, like a 1% of you that truly, truly wants this, keep going. And I've applied that to business also, of like, there could be 99 reasons not to, but I truly have this 1% that we're going to keep going and get out of that valley. And happy to say on both sides, we're out of that valley. So that's what I would tell people who are in the valley is you're not alone in the valley, and just keep going as long as there's just a tiny bit of you that really wants to.
Sounds like you've got a great day.
Yeah, I do.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Speaking of family, and then we got a few more questions here and then we'll wrap up. But speaking of family, mm-hmm. There's probably a lot of people listening, male and female, mm-hmm. That maybe feel like they had this thing that they were pursuing. They were really succeeding early on, and then all of these other kind of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a first-time parent, no one can prepare you for that. Like, you can read all the books that you want to read.
Yes.
You know, I'm ready. I am prepared.
Yeah.
You have that baby and you're like, cool, here we go.
Yes.
So maybe talk about, have there been things in your business or maybe your work-life balance that have changed?
Yep.
And how have you been able to really manage that change? Still provide an incredible product or service, but you obviously have some personal changes.
Yeah. Honestly, I think like having a baby and starting a business is very similar, where it's like you don't know what you're doing and you're Googling a lot and you're like going to the school of YouTube on a lot of stuff. And so I'll tell you what, though, what's so depressing, I had a great year last year. Great year. Baby born in February. My Shopify, every time I open it up, gives me direct comparisons between this time last year and this time this year. And it's so different, obviously, because there's this huge new responsibility that we have. So at first, I was real down in the dumps about that at first, because I'm like, wow, here it is, black and white on paper, what I made at March last year, what I made March this year. But I mean, perspective obviously is everything. Like I have more, this is so cliche, but you have more of a purpose when I feel like you have a family and a baby and a child, and that only makes me want to work harder. But what it has done for me, I will say, before I had a baby, I had no semblance of work-life balance. Like I was working at all hours, at all day, 7 days a week, 10 p.m., 11, like 2 a.m. in the morning if I wanted to. So one of the positives that's come out of it is that definitely it's forced me into a lane of almost normal business hours, which I never had before, especially if you own your own company, if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for yourself. That's one of the hardest things to set for yourself. So a positive that came out of it was definitely setting those boundaries and hours of like work is work and life is life after that. The hard parts of it are way longer. But I will say, like, having people that support you, like you said, like you live around family. I now live around family. I didn't for a long time with my husband in the military. We were never around family. So having a support system like that, even my husband as a support system, is like huge. But it really is an adjustment of like of a new normal. Like you can have both. I'm like, I do not subscribe to like you're either a good mom or you're a good worker. Like you obviously can have everything. You can have it all. It just takes a lot more intention and a lot more thought that goes into your day. And I actually feel like I work better and work more productively now. I'm way more tired, don't get me wrong, but I work more productively because it really matters what I do in that hour that I have. So I'm not just like, that TikTok's like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. That was my life. I was just like, oh, I'll do this and I'm here and I'm there. But now I'm much more productive with my time. I don't know if that answered your question at all.
No, it's great. Yeah. And I think it's the way that you answered it is like, it's all there. It's a little bit messy. We can try to answer it the best way we can. But I think that whole balance can be incredibly paralyzing for people.
Yes.
And, all right, then I'll just pick one and I'll drop the other one.
Yeah.
I think that whole work-life balance thing, obviously, if we solved that, we would be making a ton of money with books and everything else. But it's rather than a problem to solve, it's a tension to manage.
Yes.
You have to figure that out.
Yes, definitely.
One of my questions, and you alluded to it, just the last question on family, how incredible has it been to have such a supportive spouse like Chris?
Oh my gosh.
Not just encourage you on your dream, but is able to maybe get his hands dirty a little bit. I know there's been times where, hey, I need you to model this shirt real quick, whatever it is. But
his favorite activity.
Yeah. And just before I ask this question, I just want to say, I bet part of his dream is seeing yours flourish. So maybe talk to the person who might be watching this that maybe doesn't feel like they have this big dream inside of them, but that they end up being that support to someone else, potentially their spouse.
That it's people ask me, like, I have a 4-month-old, and the question I get the most is like, what have you learned the most since having your son? And my number one answer is I've learned that I chose the right person. Like and in business too, like it might be my name on there, it might be my face, it might be my whatever, but like I would not be able to do this without Chris and without everything he does in the background. And like from taking a package to the post office to literally modeling on my website, because I gotta take advantage of. Shout out Chris.
Good look. Yeah, Chris.
Thanks for the good look models. But I do think you're right. That's such an interesting way to put it, is like him wanting me to succeed has become a little bit of his dream also, and vice versa. Like,
Yeah.
like I think when you support someone and respect them and love them, like their dreams do become yours, and their success is your success. Even if you're not married, like even if there's just anyone in your life that you have that special relationship with, like their success is your success, and it becomes. Chris knows more about my business than I do. He cares almost more than I do. He'll tell me when, hey, I saw this new review on your website because I was looking at your I don't even do that half the time. So his like fervor for the business fills mine up as well. So when I'm down, his excitement is enough to carry me until I'm excited again as well. So it's like, it's so important to have, you could be a business owner and you're the only one owning it, but just to have people who keep you excited about the next step and keep you excited about what you're doing, because you're not going to be excited about it all the time.
Yeah.
But you need those people who like still you back up and be that for you.
No doubt. And I think one of the things you said earlier is there's nothing that's going to be more impactful for your children than watching you pursue what God has called you to do. And of course that means that you'll have time that'll be pulled away from them and all those things, but for them to be able to grow and watch you be excited and passionate and driven, those things matter a whole lot, because now they're seeing that exemplified in front of them, and then they'll one day walk in those footsteps.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So true.
so we have this final part of today's episode,
Okay.
the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I'm going to have my phone.
Okay.
These are specific to your business, the things that you like. But you got to answer these very fast.
Okay.
Okay.
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Okay.
1 to 2 sentences top. Some of them are just one word answers. We are going to rattle through these.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. It's like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire lights.
Yeah.
Is that even a show?
I know. I think celebrities do it now, which I have a problem
Oh,
with.
sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have enough money.
Yeah, great. Perfect. All right, rapid fire. Here we go. Mojo Provo, rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
Oh my gosh. Mike, why would you do this? All Too Well, 10-minute version.
Favorite Harry Potter book or movie?
Oh my gosh. Book, Prisoner of Azkaban, movie, Goblet of Fire.
If you could have lunch with Taylor Swift or J.K. Rowling, who would you choose?
Oh my gosh. J.K. Rowling, because I feel like it could be like a low key in a little like Scottish cafe somewhere. I would be mute for Taylor.
Taylor?
I wouldn't be able to speak. It would be a wasted lunch of me staring.
What if Taylor Swift was performing just acoustic guitar in the corner of the cafe, and then you were having lunch with J.K. Rowling?
Okay. Yep.
Don't talk to her.
No, I can just be in her presence.
Love it.
Perfect.
Okay, next question. What's the best-selling item in your merch store ever?
Ooh, all-time best-selling would be the Taylor Swift Charm Crew.
Incredible. One word to describe your business journey.
Sporadic.
Go to Taylor Swift lyric for motivation.
Oh my gosh. Why can I not think of a single Taylor Swift lyric?
Like I don't even like Taylor.
You want to know what? It's the whole song of Holy Ground. Every time I do a drop, I play it and I don't look at my stats because I'm happy no matter what.
Boom. Favorite character from Harry Potter?
Sirius Black.
First Taylor Swift concert you ever attended?
The Eras tour was the first one I ever attended, and I don't think I can go to another concert after. It's ruined. Everything's ruined. That was it for me.
Hogwarts house that you belong to?
Gryffindor.
Dream collab for your business?
Oh my gosh. Taylor Swift.
Easy. That was great. Nice job.
Wow, good.
Rapid fire. Do you feel stressed?
I feel like I just ran fast
geez.
somewhere.
You did great. I feel like I just ran.
I'm sweating like I ran.
That's okay. Before we let you go, are there any new items that you're excited about releasing, or any new things that you just are excited about?
Ooh, I do have some fun Christmas stuff coming out. I love doing like seasonal drops. And I have a lover crew coming out that I'm very excited about because a lot goes into it. There's she's like the queen of Easter eggs, Taylor Swift. So it's like Easter eggs in a sweatshirt kind of thing.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the In Good Company podcast. And Mojo, Chris, your fam, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we look forward to catching you next time. Thanks so much.